Kaya alam ko may anti-indecency ordinance ang Cebu City, no? So hindi po pwede na...
Nakasona tayo ba siya?
Okay. Ayan. Magandang hapon po sa inyo lahat, and I'm glad to see so many familiar faces and maraming mga bagong mukha na nakita ko ngayon. This afternoon, I was tasked to give you a situation, but then again, before I start, I would like to give a disclaimer na hindi po ito comprehensive situation or on adolescent sexual reproductive health sa Pilipinas kasi wala pa po nagtatagumpay na gawin yun dahil maraming data gaps, kung tracking ng data ang problema, at hindi pa tayo aggressively nag-collect ng data on this area. Kaya po, what we intend to provide you with this presentation is a starter kit. Parang ito po yung magiging tuntungan. This will be the platform launching pad for the discussion during your workshops, wherein you will frame and develop your own situation based on the peculiarities and uniqueness of the region. So, yung po sa mga galing na ng NCR at saka Mindanao, pwede po na po kayo matulog kasi this is the same presentation. Medyo may konti na po kami binago to make this more appropriate for the Visayas region. Kung sumusunod po kayo sa Twitter kaninang umaga, may mga preview na po ako binigay doon sa presentation this afternoon. Again, yun po yung hashtag natin. We started the day with some insights on what happened to a certain UP Manila student recently. No? Suddenly buong Pilipinas ay psychology experts na. Parang lahat ay may kanya-kanya interpretation on what really happened. Keso ano daw, kaya nag-suicide dahil hindi makabayad ng student loan. No? Sabi ng iba, kaya suicide kasi dahil may dalawang manliligaw at binubuli online. No? Whatever the reason is, and I think there's no one singular reason na cause ng tragedy na yun, it leads us to this phrase, and that is the lives of young people are complicated. We should never underestimate the lives of young people. Inisip natin, dahil bata pa sila, hindi pa komplikado yung buhay nila. Mas komplikado yung buhay natin kasi kami, iniisip namin kung paano kakain pamilya namin bukas. Iniisip namin kung anong pamasahe at baon ng bata kung mapasok sa eskwela. And what happened is just recently, it's just the tip of the iceberg. If I remember correctly, even last year, someone jumped from the main building of the University of Santo Tomas. Estudyante din. This is alarming kasi culturally, hindi masyadong prevalent ang suicide sa Pilipinas. No? Even if you track it through time, hindi tayo pumapalo ng ganun kataas doon sa incidents, pero may mga lumalabas na ganito ngayon. And I'm sure this is a representative more or less of what young people are going through. So now, it could be said, if you check your relationship status, that indeed, the lives of young people are complicated. Kahapon, sino po nakapanood ng Gandang Gabi, Vice? Sino nakapanood kay Gretchen Ho? Ano yung kanilang status ni Robby Domingo? Ano? Exclusively dating. Thank you for giving me the right term. So, nung araw po, pag nag-fill out tayo ng form, ang nakalagay civil status ay single or married. Ngayon, if you check this out, this is basic information. No? For Facebook, they consider it as very basic information. Ibig sabihin, ito yung basic sa pagkatao ng tao. When they ask about relationship status, mayroon ngayong single, married, in a relationship, it's complicated, or yung kay Robby Domingo at kay Gretchen Ho ay exclusively dating. So, ibig sabihin, dating po, Ma'am Guerrero, exclusively dating. Yan po yung mga bagets po na malapit po yan dun sa MU, no? Pero medyo mas aggressive naman sa MU kasi may exclusivity na. MU kasi wala pang exclusivity eh. Baka magandang susunod na topic natin yan for ASRH, no? Sige. So let me start the discussion with relationship status. Young people now see their relationship in many levels. And that illustrates how complex they view the world and how complex their situation is. So again, this is not a national ASRH situation that hindi po ako magtatagumpay kapag pinilit kong gawin yun. Bigyan ko na tayo ng understanding the complicated, looking into issues, trends, and concerns on adolescent sexual and reproductive health. Masaya po ako kasi I'm delivering this presentation now na meron ng IRR. So parang dahil may IRR na, medyo may finality na ito. No? Ibig sabihin, sigurado tayo at the end of this workshop, mayroong pupuntahan yung ating mga inputs at ma-implement yung karamihan sa gusto nating mangyari. So, with this presentation, we hope that we will spark interest on the subject and at the same time, more or less provide you with some insights on the national level so that you can find your local expressions of the situation. And I think pag sinabi nyo, ito ang Visaya situation, sigurado ko na yun ay comprehensive. Yun ang tama kasi kayo yung nasa forefront. During the run-up to the on the debate on the reproductive health bill, marami po sa atin dito, I know, nandun sa simula pa, no? So may 14 years ago, noong nasinimulan muna yung RH debate, ang isa po sa pinagtatalunan ay usapin ng RH education. Marami nagsasabi na kapag ang mga bata tinuruan yung tungkol sa reproductive health, binigyan ng sex ed, magiging malibog sila. Alam ko ba sa Bisaya, iba yung malibog. Malibog sa Bisaya, is nalilito, no? Confused. Ano ba yung malibog? Ano ang siya?
Biga.
Ayun.
Cebuano uwag.
Uwag. Ayun, sige. May mga bago
Waray
salita.
ura.
Note to self. Next time, dapat kaya ng local translation on. Sige. Ayun. So, pag binigyan sila ng RH education, magiging uwag or biga sila. So, and I think that argument, which says that sexuality and RH education should not be given to anyone below 15 years old, is founded on a mistrust on young people. Ibig sabihin, kapag sinabi natin na ang mga 15 anyos at pataas lamang ang maaaring bigyan ng RH education sapagkat sila lamang ang handang tumanggap ng ganitong klaseng edukasyon. Mayroon yung mistrust, mayroon yung kakulangan ng belief, meron yung pagmamaliit doon sa kabataang Pinoy. Parang sinasabi mo na hindi marunong mag-isip ang kabataang Pinoy. No? So, but eventually, the rest is history. I'm very glad that I'm delivering this presentation again during a time na meron tayong IRR because hindi 15 years old magsisimula ang sexuality education. Magsisimula ito ng grade, sabi sa batas. So yun yung debate nung time na yun. And we have this group called the Interagency Group on ASRH na sinasabi natin gusto ng grupo na government agency ito na masyadong late na yung 15 years old. And later, puntahan natin bakit masyadong late na to provide interventions at 15 years old. Sa dalas ko i-present ito, kabisado na ni Ernest, so kailan yung next slide eh. Hindi iba-iba ko po i-layout ko na pa kasi nung mga madalas ang kakanood, no? May mga lumipat na text doon, so bakit? Para kahit ako hindi ako ma-bored. Ayan. In the Philippines and internationally, the accepted age range of adolescents is 10 to 19. No? Meron po ba dito adolescents, 10 to 19? Meron ba? Yung totoo. Ayan, yung totoo. Ayan, meron. Ayan, magandang, ayun, medyo madami sila, magandang hapon. Eh, meron po ba dito adolescents 10 years ago? Sige. So, medyo madami. Okay, adolescents in the Philippines is from 10 to 19 years old. And I think this is more or less international accepted. I wouldn't want to call definition, but range, 10 to 19. No? And I don't need to tell you that it's a critical stage in a person's life. Marami nagbabago sa katawan ng tao. Young people sometimes get surprised suddenly when they wake up, may iba ng buhok sa ibang parte ng katawan nila na wala dati doon. No? May lumalaki na mga bahagi ng katawan nila na dating maliit. No? It's a period of transition. No? Transition in many ways, not just physically, even emotionally and intellectually. This is also the time when young people start forming opinions and perceptions about the world. Kaya very critical itong period na to. There are debates ongoing now saying that the lower range, ibig sabihin 10 years old, dapat pa daw ibaba pag hindi na adolescent. Sabi nila kasi may mga bata ngayon as early as 8 or 9 years old ay diniregla na o meron ng menarche o yung first menstruation. No? Siguro, sa dami ng hormones na sinasaksak sa Chicken Joy at saka sa KFC, kasi kinakain nyo ng mga kabataan almost every other day, it affects also their biological data. Kaya minsan, may mga maaga na first menstruation o menarche. Minsan may mga 8 or 9 years old na nag-menstruation. So ibig sabihin, pumapasok na sila sa stage na yun. Kasi pag ikaw ay nag-commence na, pwede ka na. Very good, yes. So, and what is peculiar to this stage is that nagbabago yung katawan mo, pero hindi necessarily sumasabay yung development ng isip. There are physical changes happening, but the intellectual development is not necessarily in sync with the biological changes. So, kung hindi yun sabay, magkakaroon ka ng confusion, magkakaroon ka ng maling desisyon, may mga gagawin ka which would have impact on your bodies, on your future na hindi mo alam na ganun pala yung implication nun kasi nandito ka na sa sitwasyon na to. Pwede kasi at 14 or 15, ang mga bagay na dala-dala ng kanyang isip ay dala-dala niya nung siya ay 9 or 10. And that's a whole world of difference kasi iba na yung katawan mo nun. Just a quick survey. The Philippines, ang datos natin, around 20% of the population is adolescent. Ibig sabihin, isa sa bawat 5 Pinoy o Pinay ay adolescent. At nilagay ko lang yung range para makita nyo kung we're Visayas figures. ARMM has the highest percentage in terms of population, 26% ang adolescents. At ang lowest, NCR at 19%. I wouldn't want to hazard a guess on why is the situation like this. Bakit sa ARMM mataas ang bilang ng mga adolescents as in proportion to the population at bakit mababa sa NCR? Sa kanila natin siya pasisipan. Ang mahalaga makita natin, in that range, ang Eastern Visayas may 24% na adolescents. Mataas yun, no? It's way above the national average. Just 2% behind ARMM. And for Western and Central Visayas, it's 22%, more or less consistent with the national average, but a little above still with the national average. So, kanina nga, nung nag-tweet ako this morning sa @Percival, ang sabi kong gano'n ay, maraming bagets sa Visayas in terms of proportion.
Maraming pwedeng maharap.
So, again, this is a period of transition. This is a period where a lot of things are changing. First, behaviors are changing. No? Halimbawa, social networking is playing a great role in the lives of young people now. May bago kong storya para sa mga nabubore sa presentation na to. Hindi ko na kwento ng Davao. Naalala ka lang kahapon, pinaalala sa akin ng housemate ko. Yung katabing bahay namin, nakatira po ako sa Barangay Cruz Naligas, UP Diliman, Quezon City. Yung katabing bahay po namin, may anak siya na 2 teenager. At nung isang araw, nagagalit yung nanay dito sa bunso, napapangalanan natin Stella, hindi niya totoong pangalan dahil siya ay minor pa. At nung nag-aaway sila mag-nanay, ang sabi ng nanay niya, kabibigay, summer na ngayon, kabibigay ko lang sa'yo ng 50 kahapon. Bakit ubos na yung pera mo? Wala, nahingi na naman pera today. Tapos sabi nga ng bata, 19-ager ako. Referring to, ginastos niya yung pera pang bilihan ng load. Or ginastos niya yung pera pang internet. Sabi ko nga, noong araw sa Maslow's hierarchy of needs, kadalasan survival points yung una, pangalawa, pagkain, ganyan, etc. Ngayon siguro pag tinanong mo yung teenager, sa kanilang hierarchy of needs, ang primary need nila ay pambili ng load o pang-internet. Or sometimes, sabi na ba yung pang-inom, no? Sige, because their behaviors are changing and there's a new avenue for interaction that is online, no? According to the National Youth Assessment Study of 2010, more than half, quite a pronounced majority of young people are into social networking. And huwag niyo pong isipin na because you live in a rural area or you do not live in the city center, hindi nag-internet ang mga bagets. Ang totoo po, nag-internet sila. Kasi even if you ask high school students in barangay high schools, majority sa kanila may Twitter, merong Facebook account, Twitter hindi pa masyado. It's altering the lives of young people. It's changing the terrain of social interaction. At ang nakakaloka dito sa social networking, yung hindi kino-consider ang social networking as a realm for intervention, lopsided yung maging interpretation mo ng reality ng buhay ng kabataan. Kasi it's safe to say na a significant part of social interaction of young people is not happening face-to-face. It's happening online, virtually. Halimbawa, balik tayo sa UP. There was a time na ang away sa UP Diliman ng administration at ng mga estudyante ay kapag tinanggalan ng administration yung mga bagets ng tambayan. Kasi di ba may mga organizations yan, tapos may tambayan.
Yes.
Ngayon, hindi na masyado. No? Kasi yung the tambayan now is a physical center, medyo nababawasan ng value kasi may iba na silang center of interaction. It's somewhere else. Somewhere broader. No? So, nagbabago ang behavior ng bataang Pinoy. And this would have an impact pagdating sa ASRH. Halimbawa, second point, on looking for romantic relationships. ito po, sorry, I forgot to mention. The data here is for ages 15 to 17. Kasi po, yung National Youth Assessment Study ay study ng NYC at sabi ng bata sa NYC, ang constituents niya ay 15 to 30. So hindi pa namin napuntahan yung below 15. Pero even sa 15 to 17, almost a third of them are already looking for romantic relationships. 15 to 17 po ito ha, naghahanap na ng romantic relationships, naghahanap na ng pang-in a relationship sa Facebook. So if you combine social networking and this penchant at an early age to look for romantic relationships, you are looking at a very drastic change from what we are used to. Ibig sabihin, mas mapapabilis ang mga bagay-bagay. Sino po ba dito ang married? Married, taas nga po ang kamay. Married, sige. Ma'am, ano kayo? Ilang buwan kayo niligawan ni Sir? 2 months? Sabi, mabilis si Ma'am. Ito, social networking. Sino ba po ang married dito? Married pa?
Married pa.
Sino pa ang married? Or still in America? Doc Mimi, ilang taong po kayo niligawan ni Sir? 2 years, o di ba? Dahil si Sir ay military, nagsusulatan kayo? Okay, nagsusulatan, di ba? Nung araw, medyo... snail mail pa yan, yung par avion. Yan. So, there was a time wherein things take time. No? Magliligawan kayo, syempre kung sulatan yan, meron 2 weeks, 3 weeks lal. Pag bumagyo pa, hindi pa dadating yung sulat. Mahaba yung panahon. Nagiging kayo after 2 years, so sa kaso ni Doc Mimi. Meron nagiging sila after a year. Or may iba nagiging sila after 2 months. Pero ngayon, yung mga bagets, pwede na maging magjowa kahit hindi pa nakikita. Sa text lang. Di ba? Naging textmate kanina, magkaibigan na mamaya, bukas in a relationship na ito. And that accelerates things. At if you're going to look at it from a very conservative perspective, sabihin, ayan, nagiging mapusok na ang kabataang Pilipino, lumilibog na sila. Ayan, di ba? But reality is, there's an environment, there is a context that's breeding that kind of a behavior. So, it's a lot more complicated now. Imagine, pwedeng maging magjowa ang isang 15 at isang 16-year-old in a day. Minsan may nagiging magjowa in a matter of minutes. Nagkakilala sa text, chinek sa Facebook ang mga litrato, and then after some time, in a relationship na sila. Parang, I have this friend who's working in Abu Dhabi. May nakilala siya sa... Pero ito matanda na, 32 na to. So hindi niya sa akin pwede gamitin yung argument na to. 32 years old. Nagkakilala sila ng January. Chika sila online. Namanhikan sila lalaki 2 weeks ago. Ikakasal sila sa November. So ubitin ko yung lalaki. Bilis, no? Bilis ng cycle. And this is happening because of social networking. At mag-accelerate pa yan. We haven't seen the fastest of it yet. Ngayon po, mura ang Cherry Mobile, maraming mura na Android phone. Ang Android phone po, ito yung mga telepono kung saan pwede ka mag-internet, pwede ka mag-Facebook, mag-Twitter. Pamura yan ang pamura. Meron kang 3,000 na lang. Ibig sabihin, as technology becomes more accessible, it would also escalate yung ganitong participation ng kabataan sa technology. And in a way, affecting their behavior. Promise po, yan yung pinakamahaba kong chika sa slide. Kasi 30 slides po yan din. Nasa 4 pa lang yata tayo. Ibilis ako na lang iba. Okay? Perceptions are also changing. Not just their behavior. Even, as I've said, very critical stage of adolescence because it's when they start making and forming their opinions. National Assessment Study again of 2010. This is 15 to 17. 37% of those in the 15 to 17 bracket believe that early sexual encounter is acceptable in society. Yung 17 nila, carry lang ang lipunan ang early sexual encounter. Pag tinignan niyo po, isipin niyo, kasi dati we always assume na ang malilibog, I'm going to use the term loosely ha, ang malilibog or those who would ascribe to that kind of a belief are those who are not in school. But if you look at the data, you will be surprised na pinakamataas yung may ganong pagtingin among those in school. And of course, meron din shift in terms of acceptance of LGBTs in pasensya na hindi ko magamit yung LGBT doon sa sa slide kasi in the study, it's phrased as homosexuals and transgenders. So we'll do better next time. We'll use LGBT. Ayan. This is from YAPS of 2002 and the National Demographic Health Survey of 2008. Yung 2002 po yung nasa taas, 2002 yung nasa taas. Ayan. Yan, mabilis na lang po, makita ninyo. Ito po ay incidental to. Again, this is 2002-2003 data. So just imagine this could go much higher now. Again, from 2002, YAPS 3. Ay, niligay ko lang po yung NCR kasi NCR ang pinakamataas para more or less you can imagine saan yung pwede nyo i-benchmark yung inyong region. Niligay ko rin po yung Cagayan Valley. Yun din yung pinapa-explain ko doon sa mga kaibigan natin sa DOH sa Cagayan Valley kasi bakit doon pinakamataas ang pinakamababa ang let's try to find out. Pero ayun po, you can look at the data for Visayas in relation with the highest and the lowest prevalence.
ESEs.
Okay. Ito naman po ay teen brides, yung mga nagpapakasal ng mga batang babae. Okay. Pero according po kay Ma'am Carmencita Ericta, yung head ng NSO, when she presented during the National Conference on teen pregnancy, pababa daw po ang teen bride sa Pilipinas. Pero hindi ibig sabihin, pero ang maganda po din sa mamaya makita niyo data on teen pregnancy, pataas, pero yung teen brides pababa. So it says something about how we look at the situation now. There was a time na, di ba, pinapakasal natin sila, pero ngayon parang, it's changing. I wouldn't hazard a guess on what the reason is. Pero again, that's for reason one. Very alarming also, there's a very pronounced lack of knowledge among women. Halimbawa dito, 26% lang 15 to 19 na nakakaalam ng kanilang fertile period. Kalahati ng mga tao, 15 to 27, ang naniniwala na hindi ka mabubuntis during the first intercourse. Diba? Ang daming na one-time big time sa Pilipinas. Diba? Na one-time big time kasi sabi ng boyfriend, hindi ka mabubuntis first time lang eh. Once lang eh. Eh na one-time big time. Diba? Marami pa isipin sa kanya. And still there are a lot of misconceptions about sex that's going around. Precisely because it's not being taught in school, it's not being talked about on the dinner table, walang credible sources of information even online. No? So, ang daming misconception. Yung pinakapatok sa akin ay yung kapag tapos nyo mag-sex, umihi ka, hindi ka mabubuntis. Diba? May ganung umiikot na sabi ng boyfriend sa girlfriend, hindi ka mabubuntis basta pagkatapos umihi ka lang. Or pagkatapos tumayo ka. Okay, paano kung nakatayo? To begin with. Okay. Sorry, may minors pala. I should be more conscious of my language. Next. Thank you for calling my attention. So yun, there is a very pronounced lack of information. Walang credible source of information precisely because it's not being taught in school. Ito, my favorite topic in the whole wide world. Ayan. So, teen pregnancy, tumataas sa Pilipinas. Compare niya lang yung 2000 at 2010. Nag-doble. Yung Pilipinas ay pinaka third highest, bronze medalist among the ASEAN countries. Pero if you look at the developed countries, ibig sabihin, kapag tinanggal mo yung rank 1, rank 2, that's Timor-Leste and Laos PDR, among the developed countries, developed economies in the ASEAN, tayo nang muna. At tayo yung may pinakamataas na increase sa rate. Ibig sabihin, kumakarer tayo sa bilis ng pregnancy ng pagtaas. And this happened, the data is from 2010, and this happened during a period in time wherein it's drastically going down in the West. In the same year wherein the Philippines registered this very high incidence of teen pregnancy, nag-all-time low ang teen pregnancy sa US. So, ibig sabihin, may reverse na, bakit bumababa doon sa ibang bansa, sa Pilipinas tumataas? Ano yung meron sila na wala tayo? Hindi lang sila dumadami, mas bumabata. Ayan. Tingnan niyo po yung mga nanganak na 15 to 19 years old at yung mga nanganak na below 15 years old. Ibig sabihin, hindi po chismis na may nanganganak na 12 years old sa Philippine General Hospital. Totoo po yun. Meron talaga nanganganak, ng ganun kabata. At dumadami sila. No? Compare it from 2000 to 2010. Kaya nga po sinasabi natin, interventions at the age of 15 is too late kasi some of them even have their second baby at 15 to 19. Third baby, fourth, fifth. Okay, ito po ulit. Here's the more or less the national average for 15 to 19, births for 15 to 19. Ayan po. Yan yung top 5. Okay, mag-alala mamaya mapalik mo yung data na Visayas. Makita rin tayo dyan. Ito po ay sampling lamang ng mga DOH retained hospitals. This is not comprehensive. Ito pa lang po yung nagkasabihin so far. Binigay sa amin ni Doc Mimi. Diba, for some DOH retained hospitals in the Eastern Visayas, ayun po, yung 10 to 14 years old, meron ng 4. Eastern Visayas. Tapos, for the 15 to 19, meron 23.
Oh, talaga. Sikat na sikat.
Ayan po, sige, okay lang. Yan lang po yung, just to give you a brief idea on ano yung services na na-access nila next. I don't need to tell you that it's risky. Maternal mortality, so it doubled from 2001. It's a double-edged sword. It's dangerous to the mother, and it's dangerous to the baby. And I'm sure you all know that, kasi hindi pa 12, 14, 15 years old, hindi pa fully developed yung katawan, tapos hindi pa fully developed ang balakang, kaya kadalasan ang mga teen mothers ay CS, di ba? Tapos, ito napansin ko ni Dr. Natividad by the way, kailangan ko i-acknowledge the presentation is a joint effort of the UP Population Institute in NYC. Madalas pa nababanggit ni Dr. Natividad na ang napapansin daw niya sa mga teen mothers, lahat sila ay bumi. Ibig sabihin may kulang sa ngipin. And Dr. Natividad accounts that to calcium deficiency because the baby is competing with the calcium needs of the mother. Kaya marami sa mga teen mothers ay bumi. It has lifelong implications. I didn't tell you about its health effects. Siyempre, ang medyo malala ngayon, especially for Cebu, which I'm sure you identify very strongly with this. Binibisa po kasi 10 minutes na lang. At may isa pa akong segment, stigma and discrimination. I know that the case of St. Teresa, tama ba? Yung hindi pinamarsya yung estudyante na kasi bad example daw. Pero DepEd has already released an order na bawal yun. And it applies to all public schools. Ang kailangan tingnan rin ngayon ay how we can expand that further to private school. Because, double whammy parang mahirap nga yung sitwasyon mo dahil buntis ka at 14 or 15. Ang dami mong pinagdadaanan. Tapos, i-kick out ka pa sa school o isususpend o hindi ka pa pag-graduate. It quadruples the stigma and it adds more layer to the already grave situation. And syempre, for those in the lower income class, surefire indicator ang teen pregnancy para sa limited social mobility. Ibig sabihin, kukunti na yung magiging options mo sa buhay. Kasi halimbawa, if you get pregnant at 15, at 22 years old, grade 1 na yung anak mo kasi 7 years old na siya or dapat pa yata grade 2 na under 8 to 12. Kung 22 ka na at tumigil ka mag-aral ng 15, most probably hindi ka na mag-aaral ng 22. Kung hindi ka na kapag-aaral, mahirap na humanap na maayos na trabaho. So limited yung social mobility. Sa Japan may tinatawag silang M curve, di ba? Parang sa buhay ng babae, sa career sa Japan, may time na tataas, bababa kasi mag-aanak, tapos tataas ulit kasi independent na yung mga anak, tapos bababa ulit kasi retirement. Kung single mother ka, baka hindi mo yun na-experience kasi ibig sabihin, hindi ka pumasok doon sa unang arc ng M. At kung papasok ka doon, hindi na masyado mataas yung pwede mong i-akit kasi hindi ka nakatapos kung mag-aaral at walang support system for that. Pero DepEd now is doing very well in terms of providing special modules for young mothers. Kasi halimbawa, they're not required to attend classes which start at 6:50. Kasi di ba may morning sickness yung bata, so medyo hirap siyang pilitin pumasok sa class at 6:50. So may module for them to make up for those absences. Which brings me to the next chapter of the presentation on HIV. Mingal ako doon. Okay, kaya na to. 10 minutes, promise. Okay, doon sa kanan, yan po ay picture ni Sarah Jane Salazar. Kaya ang daming bagets dito sa kwarto, hindi ako sure kung kilala niyo si Sarah Jane Salazar. Hindi mo siya kilala.
Kilala ko.
Si Sarah Jane Salazar, siya yung parang poster girl on HIV and AIDS and UH in the 90s. No? Sarah Jane Salazar had Sarah Jane's biography was made into a movie na title ay The Secrets of Sarah Jane, starring Jelly de Belen, who won Best Actress in the Urian that year against Chris Aquino. Unnecessary information ang tawag dito. Okay, so that's Sarah Jane Salazar. I just want to illustrate kung paano natin tinitingnan yung HIV yung panahon na yun. That we thought that it was a woman's infection. Kasi si Sarah Jane yan, tapos medyo may sex work involved sa kanyang buhay. Siya yung poster girl noon ng HIV and AIDS sa Pilipinas. Ngayon po, may shift na. Ang prevalent image na ngayon ay ito, yung sa kanan, siya si Wango Galiaga. Ang tatay niya, taga Visayas. Ilonggo.
Peke Galiaga.
Si Peke. Yeah. So, si Wango is HIV positive at saka yung spokesperson for HIV and AIDS sa positive community sa Pilipinas. Bakit mahalaga ko itong i-illustrate? Kasi nagbago talaga. Nagbabago yung mukha ng HIV sa Pilipinas. So, young people are at risk of HIV, and one of the most terrible, aggravating circumstance sa pag-spread ng infection ay yung kawalan ng kaalaman. Ayan. Again, this is from NDHS. Halos walang 20% ang may maayos sa kaalaman ng HIV and AIDS sa kabataang Pinoy. So, ayan na, yung maraming misconceptions, no? So, and the misconceptions would sometimes further aggravate the already risky behavior. Risky na yung behavior kasi at a very young age nagsa-sex. Tapos, paano kung hindi pa protected? Kasi hindi alam. Next. And it's not just a threat, no? It's a reality in terms of infections. It should be in 2013, na-edit namin yung data na na-edit yung title. Ayan, this is January, ayan po. 27% of infections are from 15 to 24. At merong ilan na below 15 years old, 4 na cases. At yung 15 to 19, 103 cases. So, Zamboanga yata yung isa sa pinakabata na reported. No? Pero syempre, iba yung mode of infection. And alam ko, Visayas is also a peculiar problem when it comes to HIV kasi ang majority din dito ay IDU. So, young people are getting infected. Huwag po natin isipin na, minsan kasi parang iniisip natin na, hindi yung anak ko, ano yan, dalisa yan, wala yung ginagawa. So, hindi na po risk na pwedeng mag-buntis, kundi risk din na pwedeng makuha na sexual transmitted infections. Ito po, high incidence areas. This is as of January 2013 from the registry. So it's NCR, Calabarzon, Luzon, Davao, Central Visayas. Ala po sa top 5 yung Western at Eastern Visayas, nilagay ko lang po for referencing para you can also look and see the situation.
Yung 1%.
The face is changing. Most of the infections are among men, and majority of which are among those who are engaged in sexual activities with members of the same sex. It's when men having sex with men. Hindi po ang ginagamit na language ay gay, bisexual, or transgender kasi hindi necessarily dinidefine yung sexual act, yung sexuality at gender identity ng isang tao. Kaya po ang ginagamit na language ay MSM. So for us program developers, we should have this at the back of our heads. That there is a need to intervene also on this level. Halimbawa sa usapin ng sexuality and gender identity, buti nga hindi masyadong gano'n ka-prevalent ang suicide sa Pilipinas. Kasi just imagine, a young man or woman growing up gay or transgender na hindi tinuturo ang sexual orientation at gender identity sa eskwelahan. Malalaman nila niya bakla siya o lesbiana siya o transgender siya kapag may mga kaibigan na siya katulad niya na hindi necessarily tama yung appreciation at analysis ng kanyang sitwasyon. No? So, imagine how difficult it is for young educators in the Philippines to contend with pressures from the church, pressures from the family, and you have an education system that does not teach you anything about why your desire is like this or like that. And we're very glad now that with the RH law, yung puso at kaluluwa ng RH law is sexuality education. And part of that would be gender identity and sexual orientation. Ito naman po, data on unprotected sex. From the National Youth Assessment Study, nakita po namin doon na sinasabi ng mga kabataan na, oo, medyo risky nga yung behavior namin. At tingin namin, kailangan namin ng edukasyon para ma-reduce yung risk yung behavior. Of course, if you're going to ask those in the establishment, some of them would say na, hindi edukasyon ang kailangan nila values education. Pag tinuruan natin sila ng values education, hindi sila mabubuntis, hindi sila magkaka-HIV or AIDS. Hindi ko po kinukontest yun. Values education is very important. But that has to be coupled with scientific knowledge. Kasi sabi ko nga kanina, young people are capable of making the right decision if we arm them with the right information. And data will tell you around the world, if they have RH education, they tend to delay their sexual debut. Ibig sabihin, kapag meron silang kaalaman tungkol sa reproductive health, mas napopostpone yung first sexual encounter. Kasi alam nila yung implications. Or, if ever they would engage into it, mas lesser yung impact sa buhay nila kasi they know how to protect themselves. Again, I don't quarrel with the assertion that values education is important. Yes, it is important, but it is not enough. Because the status quo now is values education. Ako po ay nagdaan sa SEDEP, yung Secondary Education Development Program Curriculum, which reveals my age, by the way. Nung high school, isang tinuro to eh. May values education kami, pero walang tinuro sa amin tungkol dito eh. So, the status quo is not an option. Because of the status quo, gold medalist tayo sa teen pregnancy. Because of the status quo, we have a rising incidence of HIV. Habang ang Thailand, na nagkaroon ng San Francisco situation noong 1990s, ay bumababa. So the status quo will eventually lead to a silent crisis. So old solutions are not enough. And we're very fortunate that we now have the RH law that provides for comprehensive sexuality education so that we should be able to improve on the efforts of the status quo and eventually make better interventions. Kaya napakahalaga po ng papel na ginagampanan ninyo ngayon kasi kayo yung magbibigay sa atin kung paano ba dapat binabalangkas yung RH education. Mahalaga itong consultation na to kasi for the first time in the history of this country, magkakaroon tayo ng sexuality education. And I'm sure there are a lot of competing and opposing views on how to do it. Pero ang simula po sana nung debate is the situationer. The situationer tells us that interventions, drastic interventions are needed. And hopefully when we get your regional situationers, we'll be able to craft a more comprehensive, a more workable curriculum for our education in the Philippines. Sorry po, nag-overtime. Maraming po salamat. Magandang hapon.